Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy. Today I'm going to be reviewing the third and final resin from Fun Creek Coal that they were kind enough to send me. This time, I'm going to be reviewing their ceramic red wax resin. Now, if you want to pick up this resin, you can find it on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description. I'm looking at the price right now as I record this, and it's $60 right now. But then there's also a coupon for 20% off that you can click to save yourself some extra money. So these prices, you know, they can go up and down. So just check to see what the price is when you watch this video. So if you want to see the previous videos of their other resins that I did, including their miniature resin and their toughness resin, I'll leave links in the description to those as well. All right, so I'm going to get some prints going and then come right back. I'll tell you how it went. Okay, so we need to talk about this resin. All right, so here's just a few of the figures that I printed out in front of me. And just to say something positive about it, this bust right here, this Tom Holland as Robin from Eastman, this came out looking really, really nice and clean. I was shocked when I pulled this off of the bill plate and I was like, man, that looks good. I had a 2-second exposure time with this resin and with this bust, and this guy came out looking really, really good. And I wish that I could say positive things all the way around about this resin. But to be fair, out of the 3 resins from Fun Creek Coal that I've tried, this is the one that I like the least. And it's all about the consistency. So even though this Robin looks good, if you look down at his midsection, you're going to notice that there is a split right there. And that has been a common theme throughout almost all of my attempts of trying to print with this resin, it making these really big splits. And no other resin that I have ever tried, except for one that I'll get to in a second, have I ever had that issue. That I have issues with the splits, I have issues with squishing and deformities, and that was a consistent theme with this particular resin. So if you take a look at the miniature here, this guy with this huge hammer, as it spins around to the back, you'll see that he is split at his back. Again, kind of like in the midsection, there is a split there. And then there is a base that I attempted to print for the Wolverine and Sabretooth diorama from Wicked, and the same thing occurred. Split right down the middle and squishing right on top, a deformity. Now I ended up printing this out with another resin successfully with the exact same settings, and those problems were not there. But massive split in this as well. Here is the Wolverine that I tried to print, and what do we see here? There is a split right up the middle, right between his legs, another huge split, and then there's some more squishing right there on his legs and some separation right there on that exact same leg, and also some squishing on the back of his boot. Consistent throughout. I did manage to have success with the Sabretooth that goes along with this Wolverine in this split base. Didn't see any squishing necessarily on the Sabretooth. There was a little bit, but it flaked off and it'll be hard to tell where it came from. But there are no splits in him. And I'm happy to say that there are no splits in him. He actually came out pretty decently. But you have to look at the average. He came out looking pretty decent without any major flaws, but this guy has a crack in the middle. This has a big crack in the middle. One of these miniatures had a crack in the middle. This Wolverine was squished and was a crack. And then on another one of these miniatures, this guy right here holding the mace, it's actually a longer weapon than that, but the back half of that mace got squished, and in curing, it just flaked off and broke. So I've been having some bad print consistency with this particular resin. And as I said earlier, the only resin that I've ever experienced that with was with the eSun PLA resin, the tan resin. I did a review on that one. You can check it out if you want. And it is very, very similar to that, to the point where I'm wondering if it's the same resin. I don't know, but just kind of look at some of the similarities here. Here, is something that was printed with the eSun resin a while ago. And as you can see, the colors of these particular types of resin, this one is the red wax and this one was tan. They both look orange to me. These from the eSun, it's a lighter color orange, and then the Fun Creek Coal ones, these are like a darker kind of an orange, but it's not red, not to my eyes. But look, on this Panda, see this huge split right up the middle? The same thing that we've been seeing with these other prints here. And it's just consistent throughout that. And some other failed prints that I had from that eSun resin, it would also have that issue, squishing and splitting as well. They also smell very similar to each other, and that the smell isn't really sharp, but it does linger. And as I'm printing with this Fun Creek Coal resin in my garage, when I step into the garage, I smell it as easy as I can smell anything else. This is the resin that I actually decided to wear a respirator when I was working with it and cleaning the prints and curing them, because I was just smelling it way too much and it made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. So I usually don't wear a respirator when it comes to resin. I know I should, but most of the times I don't because the smell isn't really that strong. But with this, it was a little bit too noticeable for me, so I decided to wear a respirator for that case. But when we kind of just look at these prints, this is from the eSun, this is Fun Creek Coal, this is eSun. They all look very similar to each other, and they smell similar to each other, and they have the same type of printing inconsistencies in my experience. Now, I don't know if it all comes from the same place. Perhaps it does, but these have been the only two resins that I've ever used that have given me this particular range of problems on a consistent basis. I'm not a scientist. I'm just looking at the results that I got when I'm trying to print, and I use very similar methods with all different types of resins, and I never encountered this with other resins, but I've encountered it with the Fun Creek Coal red wax resin as well as the eSun PLA resin, and they just so happen to look the same and smell the same and act the same as well. So take that however you want. But out of the three Fun Creek Coal resins that I have tried, this one was the one that I like the least, and it is not one that I would recommend that you pick up simply because of these issues that I've had. I don't want you to have those same issues as well. Maybe your experience would be different, so if you like the color, you can give it a shot. But for me, it would be a no-go. But, you know, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. The miniature resin from Fun Creek Coal, I had a good experience with that. But my favorite out of the 3 is definitely their tough resin, that tough resin in gray. I really recommend that tough resin. Those models came out looking so good, and the feel of the models was something that's very different than most resins I've tried. And as I said in that video, it almost felt like the figures were plastic almost, you know? So that toughness resin is good. I do recommend that, especially if you're trying to get it for like miniatures or statues, something that you need it to be a little bit more tough, you know? I do recommend it for that. But for this, it would have to be a pass for me. Go try out one of their other resins. I think that you'll have a better experience. That's going to do it for this video, but don't fret. I do have some more resin reviews coming up, so if you want to check those out and maybe get a little bit of information about some particular resins you might be interested in, be sure to subscribe to this channel so that you can see them when they release. All right, so until then, take care of yourselves. I'll speak to you soon.